Fajaleto, we stand for justice. We stand for justice over religion. Fajaleto, we stand for justice. We are religiously liberated. We are religiously liberated. Àwí kọ̀ọ̀kan lójú ọlọ́rọ̀, akékaka létí ọlọ́rọ̀ kò gbọ́. Tọ́lọ́rọ̀ bá gbọ́, kí ni nọ́mbà ọlọ́rọ̀ wá fẹ́ ṣe? Lórí òtítọ́ la dúró, lórí òtítọ́ la dúró lé lọ. Màá jálè tó. Fajaleto, we stand for justice. We stand for justice over religion. Fajaleto, we stand for justice. We are religiously liberated. We are religiously liberated. Àwí kọ̀ọ̀kan lójú ọlọ́rọ̀, akékaka létí ọlọ́rọ̀ kò gbọ́. Tọ́lọ́rọ̀ bá gbọ́, kí ni nọ́mbà ọlọ́rọ̀ wá fẹ́ ṣe? Lórí òtítọ́ la dúró, lórí òtítọ́ la dúró lé lọ. Màá jálè tó. We stand for truth and justice. We are liberated religiously. Bàbá ṣẹ̀bẹ̀ nínú epo ẹ̀pà, ẹni máa yọ ayọ̀, ẹni máa yọ ayọ̀, máa jálè tó. Làákàyè rẹ̀ kò mọ ní dọ́gba o. Tìmí Daniels, ogun ayé kò ní borí rẹ̀ o. Ọmọ ní tẹnu kó bí ọwọ́. Ayé kò ní rí ẹ mú. Rántí mi Daniel. Ayé kò ní rí ẹ pa. Nítorí òtítọ́ ló gbé dání. Òtítọ́ ló gbé dání. Bá ṣe bá ọmọ náà èjìjì o. Èjìjì o. Ògo tó ń lọ èjìjì o. Rántí mi Daniel. Èjìjì kò lè rẹ̀. You speak truth, love and humanity over religions. Láàrin àwùjọ, Tìmí Daniel, ìwọ làwọn fẹ́. Ọmọ Ọlọ́run, ọba ògo. You are an antidote for corruption. You speak the truth, you speak the fact. You tackle corruptions. You break the table. You break protocols. You break shackles. Fàájà rántí mi fàájà. Fàájà lẹ́tọ̀, ètò ní fàájà o. Lẹ́kùnlé gbogbo kò sọ fún tọkọ pé Tìmí Daniel ṣiṣẹ́ for unity. Fàájà lẹ́tọ̀, we stand for justice. Fàájà lẹ́tọ̀, we stand for justice. We are religiously liberated.
Àṣẹ Èdùmàrè.
Rántí mi Daniel, ló ṣiṣẹ́ ọpọlọ. Ẹ máa bá wa ká Alájànídé o, Àjànídé o, Alájànídé o, Àjànídé o, àwìn kòkòdé kákìlẹ̀ ìwà bàjẹ́ láwùjọ. Àjànídé o. Àjànídé o, Olúrótìmídé. Àjànídé o, Olúrótìmídé, kákìlẹ̀ ìwà bàjẹ́ láwùjọ. Àjànídé o. Àwìn kòkòdé àti mọ̀wà rẹ̀ o, ìwà rẹ̀ ò bá wa lójijì mọ́ òtúndé. Àjàní bá wọn wí fún wa ìdọ̀tí o, ìwà rẹ̀ ò bá wa lójijì mọ́ òtúndé. Àwìn kòkò akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lọ́rọ̀ ó gbọ́ kọ́kọ́rọ́ wọ̀ sí o, ìwà rẹ̀ ò bá wa lójijì mọ́ òtúndé. Lónílé láyé tó ẹ̀káwọ̀ bàjẹ́ yìí bọ̀lẹ̀ o, ìwà rẹ̀ ò bá wa lójijì mọ́ òtúndé. Àjàní kọ̀rọ̀ bàjẹ́ láwùjọ, ìwà rẹ̀ ò bá wa lójijì mọ́ òtúndé. Lẹ́kúnlé yóò gbọ́ kọ́lọ́rọ̀ òkútòkò kólúrótìmídé o, ìwà rẹ̀ ò bá wa lójijì mọ́ òtúndé. Ẹni ọmọ Àjàní kó sáré wá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ kó sàṣẹ ìdí ọlọ́bẹ̀ ní ìwà rẹ̀ ò bá wa lójijì mọ́ òtúndé. Ẹni ò mẹ́rin kó wá l'Àjàní o, Àjànà kú kọjá borí ìwà rẹ̀ ò bá wa lójijì mọ́ òtúndé. Àjàní ìwà rẹ̀ ò bá wa lójijì mọ́ òtúndé o, ìwà rẹ̀ ò bá wa lójijì mọ́ òtúndé. Akékàkàdé, akékàkà kọ́lọ́rọ̀ ọgbọ́n ọjà rẹ̀. Àjàní gbọ́rànlẹ̀ ó dìde, ẹran pápá lábẹ́ tù ibi kìjàkìjà lábẹ́ sí.
Oh yes.
Ebe kẹlọ kìlọ̀ làbẹ́ kòkò ara fídà tirẹ́bẹ̀. Ìta gbàgbàlà abẹ́wẹ́ àdílé kéde òjòjò ní sọ́wọ́ kọ́mọ́lé ìnajà kókókó lárọ́ tó lé.
Oh yes.
Àjàní o, Àjàní kọ̀rọ̀ wọ̀ tó kọ̀ wá bàjẹ́ láwùjọ. Àjànídé o, bí kòwé ìbá ké gbogbo inú ẹ̀yẹ kò wọ́n apá lọ́lọ́ ni Àjàní ló gbòde. Àjànídé o, ọlọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu bí ọmọ ọ̀dọ̀ àgbà. Akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ kọ́lọ́rọ̀ ó gbọ́ mi bí wọ́n mọ̀ pé òdúdú máradán. Alájàní orí jẹ́ mórí ọ̀pẹ nígbà gbogbo ọ̀yàrọ̀ níyàwó kú láíláí. Ìwọ ọmọ wa ní tètè kú torí mo rójú ọ̀la lójú rẹ̀. Ejò gbè ìfà ìjìmúre wáyà kú méjì kọ́ yẹ kú rẹ̀ dà ló wá nílé ọ̀tá onílé àmọ́ níṣẹ́ ni. Alájàní o, Àjàní bẹ́ẹ̀ bí wọ́n mọ̀ pé ó bá pẹ̀lú akọni àfidà lálẹ́ tààrà. Ọjọ́ àbápẹ̀rẹ̀ kúlẹ̀kún jẹ́ ọjọ́ àbápọ̀rọ̀ nígbọ́nà kọ̀ọ̀kan. Àjàní mo pè ọ́ lọ ní o. Máa wí èpo wíwí ọba èbó òun akọrin Adésọlá Àṣàkẹ́mọ̀dé. Àjàní o, Àjàní tí gbogbo lè pọ̀n pátápátá kó rogodo. Olúrótìmí o, kìlọ̀ wà bàjẹ́ láwùjọ. Orí ni o wá nídìrú lásán ọlọ́run ọba. Mọ̀bẹ̀rẹ̀ ọbẹ̀ níbẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ àtẹ́lẹsẹ̀ wọn sì mọ̀bẹ̀ náwó. Alájàní o, Àjàní o, Àjàní ọmọ. Àjàní ọ̀la tọpọ̀ rẹpẹtẹ. Àjàní bí ẹgbàgbé ìjọ olóríire ni. Gbogbo Alájàní ìtọ́jọba bẹ̀ẹ̀mí lọ ni. Àjàní o, àwí kòkó kọ́lọ́rọ̀ ó gbọ́ o. Alájàní kò wá bàjẹ́ láwùjọ. Kẹ́kùnlé gbọ́ kọ́lọ́rọ̀ fún tọkọ. Kọ́nílé gbọ́ kọ́lọ́rọ̀ bá lè jọ ọjà rẹ̀ Àjàní ló gbòde. Bí kòwé bá ké gbogbo ẹyẹ oko kẹ́ ẹ̀ pa lọ́lọ́. Kẹ́ ẹ̀ sinmi agbada Àjàní lóde o. Olúrótìmí mọ̀mọ́lé àwọn bàbá tiẹ̀ gbá ní ọmọ alákẹ́jọ bí ọmọ alákẹ́sẹ̀. Ọmọ olùgbọ́jọ́ bí ọmọ rò látà. Ẹ̀gbọ́n tọmọ fífòrò tó sẹ́tẹ̀ eégún mọ́nú ọmọ òṣìlẹ̀kùn palẹ̀ kùlé. Ilé ọmọ rò ń pàgé ọmọ rò ń pa ọkọ̀ ọmọ rò tí gbàgbà ń gbéra. Oyè máa jọ́gbẹ̀rọ̀ màmá jógbé epo torí ẹrú nísìnyí ẹ̀kọ́ wọn kì í sí iyọ̀. Ilé ọmọ ewúrẹ́ ẹgbẹ́ tó rọjò ọjà rẹ̀ ẹgbàjọ ọjọ́ tí tó léwékewé lẹ́rọ̀ ń jẹ tí fi ń sanra. Àjàní mo wá mọ́lé àwọn ọ̀yà rẹ̀ gangan yàtọ̀ sọ ọlọ́kọ̀ rẹ̀ wá sílé ayé. Ìbàdàn ni wọ́n o. Àjàní ọmọ òkè Ìbàdàn. Orígun mẹ́rin nílùú ní Ìbàdàn nìkan lórí mẹ́rìndínlógún ọjà rẹ̀. Ibi ogun ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ náà pé níbẹ̀rẹ̀. Ibi ogun parí sí náà pé lókun pa. Ìbàdàn bẹ̀rẹ̀ kí o tó wọ níbi o lè gbé jàre olóhùn. ẹlẹ́yẹlé lomi tí tẹ́wú tọmọ láyé pọ́ máa ṣe dìrẹ́ ló máa gún wẹ́lé Ìbàdàn. Sọ̀bọ̀ lọ́yọ̀ kéèyàn ò máa rí kéèyàn gbọ́ngàn máa rólú owó máa rólú ọmọ ni. Èmi mi ò jọ mọ̀ dọ́gọ́ òkè. Ọlá mi ò jọ mọ̀ dọ́gọ́ òkè. Ọ̀túnlá mi ò jọ mọ̀ dọ́gọ́ òkè. Lọ́jọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ o, lọ́jọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ o, lọ́jọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ o lọ. Bàdámọ́dọ́gbọ́ yọ kéèyàn ọmọ ní ké bọ́ọ̀lù gẹ̀ẹ́sà lọ́lọ́ bí lọ́ọ̀rẹ́ ìyọrùn bóyá túké sí. Ilé ọmọ ọlọ́gbọ̀jọ 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 ọmọ oníke bọ́ọ̀lù gẹ̀ẹ́sà lọ́lọ́gbé o. Ọmọ Ìbàdàn lólóye tó rúdúrà lólóye tó dìjà. Àjà nígbèrànlẹ̀ òdìdí oríjẹ́ mọ́rí ọ̀pẹ nígbà gbogbo. Ọmọ Òkè Ìbàdàn o.
Ọmọ Òkè Ìbàdàn. Ọmọ Òkè Ìbàdàn. Ọmọ Òkè Ìbàdàn. All right.
Rotimi Daniel's Foundation for Peace and Equity. Truth, love, and humanity over religion. Kudos to you, Rotimi. Rotimi Daniel's Foundation for.
I am going to be welcoming everybody on today's live video. My name remains Rotimi Daniels. Akẹ́kàkàwé kòkó lójú ọlọ́rọ̀ tí bàbá ńlá kú bàbá ọlọ́rọ̀ ọba gbọ́ kí ló fẹ́ ṣe fi mí ṣe. Translated as the brave one who calls his spade, irrespective of who you are, as long as it is the truth of liberation we're dishing out. We don't look at Uche's faces at all, and nothing can stop us. So I'm welcoming every one of you on today's live video on Facebook. I'm not going to be mentioning names because of how many people I have here already. TikTok, I appreciate every one of you. YouTube, and then Instagram, I appreciate every one of you. Today's live video is resting on the shoulders of everybody. Some of you would already see the picture that I have behind me. And you're going to be wondering what the picture depicts. And that being said, I'm going to be explaining the picture to those who are on YouTube, Instagram, and also Facebook. I will explain before I go on to make my submission. And I'm going to be making today's live video in English because the Yorubas say that if you want a deaf to understand what you're saying, to hear and understand, you say it in the presence of the child. Kí adití bá lè gbọ́rọ̀ la ṣe ń sọ lójú ọmọ ẹ̀. And for what it's worth, it is very obvious that the adage that the Yorubas say that before the ground will call for the life of an evildoer, very many things will have been damaged. Kí ilẹ̀ tó pa òṣìkà, òun rere ti máa ń bàjẹ́. But I stand to be corrected today. Ó ṣe bí òwe níwájú ẹ̀yin bàbá àti ìyá mi. Ó ṣe bí òwe, ẹ má bínú. Thank you so much, Titi Tọ́pẹ́. I appreciate you. Now, the question we're now asking our elderly ones in Yoruba land is this: why is it that good things, or why are good and lovely things be damaged before the ground will swallow the person who is doing the bad thing? For example, you see a pastor. Every one of you knows that, okay, this pastor is using something to tie people down. When people say they are leaving the church, one way or the other, bad things always happen to them. Then you say, no, leave them. Judgment is for God. And we have seen severally how the same pastors do not believe even in what you are saying to defend them. Seeing how they use the police, how they use the courts and everything to terrorize the people. So what I'm doing today is to say we don't want that statement again, ever. That we will keep quiet for an evildoer to continue to do or dwell in the wickedness he or she is doing, and wait for the ground to swallow such a person. The Yorubas who say this adage, who believe so much in this, are the same people that say that igi tó dá òkè ń pẹ́ nígbó, that a worthy tree, a useful tree, doesn't stay long in the forest. And we're not asking, why should the bad or worthless trees be left in the forest to grow as old as it can, when the ones that are worthy are not having space to survive? Is it that our forefathers didn't have agricultural knowledge about what we call weeding when such trees are growing? Or it is an intentional act to allow wickedness to grow? So, in this wise, I am calling out on all world leaders for the wickedness that is being measured up against humanity. And some of you will be worried, not me, leave these people. Do you know one thing? The people they have unalived, using their evil agents all over the world. African leaders who had stood up in time past to make sure that African countries are united. The few African leaders who stood up and said, we should not be kings, yet be living like slaves on our own lands. We should not be children of the ones who weave clothing to sell, who supplies woolen materials to people to cover their shame. We will not be the same people that are walking around naked as blacks. That we are horses as Africans, but we cannot run even 100-meter race. What kind of horses are we in Africa? That we are like snakes. Unfortunately, our snakes can no longer crawl effectively well on its belly. So, if my agitations, which has not excluded religious sectors, which is always including the political figures, if that is going to bring an end to my life, I'm telling you the truth, because we can no longer keep quiet in the faces of this madness. That the likes of Patrice Lumumba will be taken out the way he was taken out, and no arrest was made. His only sin was that Congo will not turn to what it is today. That Kwame Nkrumah will go on an official visit, and he had a great vision that Ghana will become so great. And before he would come back, the government had been toppled. And the people who will be dancing to the tunes of the West and Europe, they were already installed. We no longer study history. If all the useless comedy skits promoting indecency that we have, they have 1 million views, they have 2 million followers and everything. If they will stand up to promote history, I don't think Africa will be here today. Unfortunately, the same people that should be studying history Because the adage says that when a child falls, he looks to the front, which is the mistake we're making today. But an adult falls, he looks back to know where the problem came from. Go to Badagry, go to Emina Castle in Ghana. You will realize that our mothers, they were taken as slaves. They were not dressing the way you see our sisters and even mothers do today on social media because of money. You think the social media owners are making mistakes? No, hell no. They know the game they are playing. If you think that it was the best interest of our mothers that they were paraded the way they were paraded by these good-for-nothing bloodsuckers, the same people who brought religions to us. It was because they paraded them naked. Unfortunately, even though our mothers were weeping, but some of them were dying, but they had happiness and joy in their heart that the generation coming will wake up and make their deaths and make their shame and make their suffering to be worth the while. Unfortunately, they look back today and they are weeping for us. Where is the generation of those that will say, if I die, I die. If I perish, I perish. The truth must be said because of the coming generation. And after the likes of Patrice Lumumba, we're not going to forget the likes of Sankara, Thomas Sankara, who was also eliminated. We're not going to forget a man that stood up again in the person of Gaddafi, that said Africa must have their own banks from where they could borrow money. But no, IMF, World Banks were imposed upon us by the making of our current African leaders. Because that is true. That is the means through which they are able to steal and make our lives miserable. At the end of the day, it's as if there is nobody that could coordinate voices again in Africa for the weeping generation. There is no link between our fathers, our forefathers, and the coming generation. The link that we have that is very thin. Let's take Nigeria as a case study. Despite all the levels of injustice happening in Nigeria, despite the level of bloodshed in Nigeria, and it still continues. The only voice crying in the wilderness that has nothing to lose in the person of Omoyele Sowore is the same person we are allowing the federal government to take to court every now and then. That the Egbetokun will not command angrily the Nigeria police that you don't have business on the road collecting money from people. You can only be there if it has to do with security of lives and property. That the Egbetokun is not doing that. He's not going after the terrorists. He's not going after the bandits. He's not going after kidnappers again. Of what use is salt if the salt has lost its saltiness, other than to be thrown away and be trampled upon the feet of men? When we come to Nigeria, like you have sent the religious sector, they have sent out many hired assassins threatening us up and down. If you know you have two heads, if you know you are not a bastard, come to Nigeria. And I'm happy that I am screenshotting, I am saving all of these things, so that at the end of the day, all things being equal, we will be presenting all of these things. That the question we are asking is this: this is what they are threatening us with, threat against our lives. But like I said, Awikoko doesn't have anything to lose. Yes, I will miss my old Mercedes Benz, my 2001 model Mercedes Benz, because I love that vehicle so much. Maybe that is the only thing I will miss. I don't have clothes. Thank God for this customized Faja or Rotimi Daniels Foundation, whatever. What am I saying today that concerns everybody, every one of us? And what is the way forward? The little way forward I can profile today, bringing some of the people up. Maybe you will be adding your own, because it is sickening. And the title of today's short live video is "The World Leaders Are Allegedly Complicit in All the Occurrences Happening All Over the World." The Western world, Europe, they must explain to us why Patrice Lumumba was not just, if he had been shot, just like Kennedy, because Kennedy too touched on the monetary aspect, on finances, that could have ended the reign of bloodthirsty people that are always behind elected presidents all over the world. You people already know those I'm talking about. Don't think that when they say world president, you think Trump is the one that is leading America. Let Trump come out and tell you those that are controlling him. Let Obama come out and tell us those that are giving him itinerary. They are behind the stage. The Western world, Europe, must tell us what the likes of Patrice Lumumba has done, with evidences that he was not just taken out, he was chainsawed into pieces like animal, while the remaining part of the body, all the remains, were thrown inside acid, leaving just one tooth. How wicked can a people who brought Jesus and Muhammad to us, how wicked could they be that the same Jesus they were selling back then could not change their hearts from such wickedness? And they will bring those religions to us in Africa so much that they will have in mind to treat our forefathers the way they treated. Don't let us forget, I'm not going to blame them much, because if the wall doesn't open its mouth, don't let me lie to you, lizard can never come into it. We're calling a spade today. What roles did some people play back then that enabled these people to captivate them, to capture them? What are the roles we are playing today as a politician in Africa? What role are you playing today to make sure that Africa doesn't rise above the waters? What did Patrice Lumumba, what did Sankara do that the people being mentioned in Epstein file, so many of you who have been following the Epstein file issue, you're going to be asking, if by now your tummy is not turning, you are not having abdominal disorder, seeing all of the things that are being released to social media for the past 1 month, and all the figures being indicted, why is it that the same agent they used, the same organization they used against African leaders, whose only sin was that Africans must be able to stand tall on their own soil and live like human beings, as against the ones being released in this Epstein file, that they will eat intestine of children, that they will have sacrificial offerings of human beings to their gods? How evil can a people be that the likes of Oprah Winfrey, that I have heard pastors used as contacts before in prayers in Nigeria, that the God of Oprah Winfrey, come and bless me. God of Oprah Winfrey, come and bless us in this denomination. Come and bless us. Do you know do you know what happened behind the stage of Oprah Winfrey? That it is alleged that many children were missing in a South African establishment. 11 times Oprah Winfrey's private jet was seen at the location, at the residence of Epstein. Where is the connection between light and darkness? What you people taught us, white and black, what you elderly people taught us was that immediately light shows up, darkness begin to disappear. Unfortunately, it is you elders, as we were growing up, it is no longer black and white, it is turning to gray color. We don't understand again. How could it be that you elderly ones that taught us these basic principles, of healthy living, peaceful living, are the same elders that are behind the reasons why this generation is going into extinction when it comes to decency, when it comes to modesty, when it comes to sanity? Because you don't know, we are driving our children so crazy and mad. Look at what we're doing. What am I saying today? This post behind me is the one saying that illegal small boat immigrants called Deng Majek from Sudan murdered or unalived Rhiannon White by stabbing her 23 times with a screwdriver. He will serve a minimum of 29 years. This despicable man should never have been here to start with. It was a white guy who posted this news a few days ago. This is the consequence of mass illegal migration. We must leave the ECHR and deport all illegal immigrants within a week of arrival. Olúọ̀run, ìjì yìí ó ti pọ̀ tó. Ogun nílé, ogun lóko, ìnira yìí lè lálejò. Olúọ̀run jọ̀wọ́ wá táyé ṣe. Let me break down my submission on this news. For some of you have not seen, this is the guy and this is the lady that was unalived in a mysterious manner. This is it, Instagram. Are you seeing it? YouTube family, this is it. Let me go back to my submission, sincere submission. How many times? Because the propaganda that black life matters, I am sick and tired of it. I am sick and tired of the hypocrisy. White blacks or white lives do not matter. They don't matter. Let's break it down. 23 times screwdriver punching into your skin, into your tummy, into your neck, into your whatever. There was a first crucial pain, and for what it's worth, the blood of this wonderful lady rests upon the necks of all you European leaders and Western leaders. Oh yes, the blood rests upon all of you because you guys have enjoyed this playing of games with human lives far enough. And I know that by more voices speaking up, the old people will stand up and say enough is enough. When our level of selfishness reduces to a level where we begin to see the next door neighbor as our family members. When I begin to see my colleague at work not just as colleagues, but as a brother, irrespective of the language, irrespective of the color. There was a crucial pain of the first stab on this lady. There was a second one until the lady could no longer bear the pain, until she could no longer fight for her life, and she gave up the ghost. What about the whites against blacks? Who raised all of us to be like this? I'm asking. Now, we can go on. Floyd, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. The whole world moved on. Nothing was said about the root cause of all these problems. I am going to be touching on the root causes of this issue today. Either the world leaders want it or not, the truth must be said. We will spill it the way it is. Does the 29 years this guy will spend behind bars, does he bring this lady back? Does he compensate the family members of this wonderful lady? No. But we move on. On that day that this incident happened, if there was a UFC fight, even our family members, his own family members, they will go and watch. Maybe this day they sentence this guy. The family were back home, Chelsea playing against Manchester United. The family members will stand up. They say they are going to watch match. Life goes on. When is the world going to stand still? If something bad, or when something bad happens to one person, when is the world going to stand still? Momeye Bolapo. What are the root causes? I will mention some today. Why should this guy travel in a dangerous manner from Sudan to whatever country he went to before this incident happened? What was his life about when he was growing up? Was there a time the mom asked him, "Dang, Magic, what would you like to be in future?" In a tiny, harmless, loving voice, "Dad, I want to become a doctor. I would want to become a lawyer. I would want to become an engineer." All of us remember the first time we said these sentences back then. But what happened to the vision and dream of this wonderful guy? The government back home failed him. The same way our own government failed us, and they keep failing us in Nigeria. To the extent that as bad and memorable the regime of Abacha was. How many of you were alive during the Abacha's regime 1 million march? Back then, we were already eating, so many homes were already mixing corn chaff that Yorubas call eri. They were already mixing it with beans to make beans cake or akara. That was the year that we invented sawdust usage. That when you open the paint, whatever, you would put a tiny wood in between, then you stock sawdust, okay, in it with one hole underneath. How many of you remember? But as bad as Abacha regime was, Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu should hear me today, because I lè sọ̀rọ̀ lójú ọlọ́rọ̀ ìbẹ̀rù orí burúkú ni. Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you have been in government. You have been following some notable politicians then in 1998, if you were not already occupying a position. Why should it be that each government that comes in, each regime that takes place, that takes over, will always want us to be praying for another one that is gone? If not because all of you are wicked beings. I read in the paper which I shared on Facebook about a few days ago. The same Bola Ahmed Tinubu said in that newspaper, either Punch or so, that Nigeria cannot be sustained. We cannot live together amicably as one Nigeria. Unfortunately, does it mean that this truth changed when Bola Ahmed Tinubu started tasting a national cake? Or because of personal ambitions over the survival of a people? I read again when they pitched Oshibajo and Buhari together for us. And because we are a wicked, mad people in Nigeria, I'm not leaving out myself. We are fighting. No Muslim ticket, no Christian ticket, no Muslim Christian ticket. Because of religion, because of sentiment, because of selfishness, we allow things that should never be allowed in such a country called Nigeria. How many things did Oshibajo, being a pastor, being a close ally of Baba Adeboye, how many point agenda did his regime propose to us when he was with Buhari? Who are the powers, who are the cabals in Nigeria? How did they arrive at the point where by tapping of their fingers so many people will die? Who are they? Can they even function at all without the backing of Nigerians? I'm asking. And Oshibajo too. After 8 years, what are the things that happened during that regime? We started asking God to forgive us, give us Jonathan again. Nigerians started begging. Until date, if not because of wickedness, so many pastors are now with their representatives, with their dogs on social media. They could shamelessly be running after people that are speaking up, citing cyberbullying, cybercrime and everything. In your presence, in your faces, Fulani headsmen, they slaughter people on live videos. You pastors, you useless, good for nothing entities, you afars, you imams, you babalawos, the best of you that we have seen on social media is a fight for superiority complex. I am more than you. We are the original. We are this, we are that. Awikoko might have been talking mostly about the pastors. Because I was not born in a Christian home. I was not born into what you people call traditional method of worshiping. At the end of the day, is it not a shameful thing to all of you that yes, we can thank Orunmi Lababa Agboniregun that Isheshe cannot talk in Nigeria, because before they were so demonized that they couldn't talk. But now that some of us are speaking up, and it's as if some people mistaking it for promoting Shango, Ogun and everything. No. And I'm happy that from my page, some of them started finding their voices. But I'm asking today, what have you used that voice to do? Isheshe Lagba, Isheshe Lagba. So nobody is exempted in this talk today. That Oshibajo will be under Buhari, and look at how many atrocities were committed. Jonathan granted an interview. He says, if you go and do your investigation very well, that the current regime masterminded the cutting away of how many Chibok girls. And he told us from that interview that even US had a representative the fortnight before the election. What did he come today? Jonathan is asking that question till date. The reason why Jonathan's government couldn't make it for the second term was because of that kidnap. Unfortunately, because of the wickedness of we Nigerians, Tinubu is trying to run for second term. They have started going, city boys have started promoting. And I'm so ashamed of the Igbos behind this city boy movement because of money. Today, it is a free killing zone in Nigeria. That bandits, kidnappers, terrorists are being apprehended today, and order from above will speak and ask our police officers to let such persons go freely. Is it not a shameful thing that bandits killed ACP in Kano? He wore the uniform of that policeman to a place where they were going to have peace talk in our presence, Nigerians. Ayé wa ti bàjẹ́. And it is we Nigerians, especially we useless men, that are always on social media. Once we see breast, once we see bomb, we begin to make comments as though we are speaking in tongues. If just kidnapping Chibok girls was the reason why Jonathan's government was toppled, why are we still harboring this current regime, seeing the level of bloodshed? Both PDP and APC, they now fight each other. They can shed by the amount of chaos they can cause. That in our presence, a Fulani boy said, if you see any Fulani people parading their cattle all over, that we should go and meet our hobas. Is it not a big shameful thing? I am coming back to the world leaders. I must mention the things that they perpetrate back in Africa, and how their own future too is not sure for them, irrespective of how cunning and wicked they are. Because when you pass on that in Yalin, Belaja for Yahoo. Bola Ahmed Tinubu said it during the campaign, even though till date, we will always remember how stupid we were. That it will come out. How many of you remember what they call election campaign in Nigeria back then? The contestants will be asked questions, and we will be listening to response without reading books, without looking at any paper. They ask questions from candidates, from contestants. But today, a presidential aspirant is being asked questions on what scale television interview. They are asking about agriculture. How many of you remember that interview? They are asking him about agricultural sector. Bola Ahmed Tinubu was directing it to somebody else. They were talking about A, he was talking about F. An incoming president was going to answer some questions. Ẹ̀rù dẹ̀ ń bà, ojú ń ti àwọn aráàlú. Ojú ń tì wá. It's as good as maybe my dad now going for something outside, and me, the child, I'm already feeling the shame that my dad will go and disappoint me there, will bring shame to me. And Nigerians, how did we get here? Ẹnu lásán la níbi tajakara, especially ìran Yorùbá. What am I saying today? Bola Ahmed Tinubu said it himself, and it is still on record, that if I don't make electricity stable, don't ever vote for me again. But the fraudulent way which they are going to use to make him be there again, he has signed the bill today. Nigerians are on social media. We are still watching useless porn-like skits. Ojú gbà mí tì fún gbogbo irú ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń wò mí lẹ́ni tẹ́ ẹ wà lórí irú àwọn pages ẹni bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. And I must call a spade today. Randy Peter is a very wonderful guy. Brave. Very fluent, very eloquent. He's been leading the protests against the NAS informations and all this election, whatever. Kudos to you, my brother. Showora cannot be, his own agitations cannot even be overemphasized. But I'm sorry to say, Randy Peter, even if elections are transmitted the way we are fighting that it should be transmitted, my pain, my tears today is that the government, if the government we vote for that wins free and fair or freely and fairly, if such a person mounts that podium, if such a person occupies that office, is it not the same constitution that they are going to use? That you cannot take them to court easily. It is in Nigeria, it is in Africa that it is allowed, that a politician allows to finish his tenure even when he's unaliving millions. Constitution allows it. There is no 25th Amendment like in the US. Let's make a motion that this president should be removed. He is not performing. Just because we are a generation of evildoers, a generation whose child brings in money, whose teenage under 15 brings in a car, we do not have to celebrate in churches. It is a good for nothing generation. At the age of 13, 14, parade boyfriends in the presence of the mother. It is a generation where they conduct experiments. Can you allow my friend to sleep with her for 100,000? The girl was begging, Mommy, don't let them sleep with me. The mother started cursing this girl. Said, go inside. Do you have condom? If you have, accept the 100,000. All of you do not see that video. It wouldn't go viral because we're not talking about your child. We're not talking about your... To be stable in 4 years, do not vote for me again. Why is Tinubu coming out again? to contest for election. Do we have constant electricity supply in Nigeria? You good for nothing politician. How much from the days of Obasanjo? If not because all of you are good for nothing entities. They wanted to sell the same SIM card. How many of you remember when MTN first came? Please answer. How many? Econet, if I'm still very correct, MTN and Econet. I still remember my MTN number. I still remember my Econet number back then. Because we were part of the people that first bought it in Seriki Aro that time. Those were the day that we were using Ericsson that has cover mount that you with antenna. How many of you remember that thick Motorola? How they packaged, how Baba Obasanjo did whatever he did then to make Nigerians confused. How many of you remember that they put it inside CD? You open different books, you open like booklet before you reach the same SIM that was to be given free of charge. I know how much we were buying a SIM then. Just because we had a good for nothing entity on the throne. At the end of the day, the banking sector, they will send you message 50 naira. They deduct different money from your but if they rake in 50 naira on 250 million Nigerians, know how much that is. All of you in the banking sector, ní kúre. All of you in government today and years back, ní kúre. If I do not make electricity to be stable in 4 years, do not vote for me. My Igbo brothers, I am so ashamed of all of you. If only I could drain this blood and put another blood, I would do it because of Igbos. All of you are so useless that you allow Cubana, whatever they call themselves, to be parading bosses in support of this current regime that has not been able to provide security to lives. Nigeria judiciary, arrest all of us when we come home. You in the constitution, we have right to life. But all of you have taken your wives and children abroad. So all Nigerians can go to blazes. That is why the judiciary is like this. And what about other African countries? That in Ghana, the Chinese are allowed to be doing galamsey at remote areas where the water body used to be the only surviving commodity that community had, where they do their fishing, a lot of things. Ghana government allowed the Chinese to be doing illegal mining. They damage the water, and anybody who dares speak up, they use the cops, they use the soldier against them. Maybe this new regime will turn things around. How many years have people been crying out of Congo? It'll be hard. And nobody is asking what is happening in Congo and Sudan, even Kenya. What is happening there? They are also gruesome. But why is US not interested? Since the years of their cry, why Nigeria? Nobody is asking. What is the game plan? That in our forest during COVID-19, I can never forget, the Nigerians on their own soil were not allowed to move. The Chinese were on our soil, and the Nigerian immigration told us that they do not know how the Chinese people that came into Nigeria, how they disappeared. It will never be well with all of you. We are all bastards. We are all third, fourth, fifth class citizens on our own land. That what Chinese could not do in their own country, they are doing it in Africa. It's ID card to gain access to Ghana. Only ID card. And the government of yesterday allowed that whatever they did to any Ghanaian on their land, they do it and they go scot-free. We allow ourselves to be labeled all over the world as non-entities. Look at what Chinese, look at what Indians are doing all over the world. They use propaganda to cover all of these things up. They're only blacks. We are non-entities. Are we not non-entities? Are we not? They look us and they weep for our misery. We look at ourselves, we laugh. I am happy that illegal immigrants. I am not in support of illegal migration. But come to think of it, when is the West, when is Europe going to hands off their evil hands off our policies back home? They now made the biblical story to be pointing towards us. That Jacob and Esau, they were before Isaac for prayers and the hands were crossed. And the blessing, all of these stories, think about them. That there was a time the sons of man or the sons of men, they decided to build a tower called Tower of Babel. Tower of Babel. And biblical God said, okay, if we allow them that tower and they will come and see us here, the same supreme being that should know the end of a thing from beginning. He didn't know the kind of heart he gave to men. He didn't know the kind of brain he gave to men. That with this brain, we can do just many things. So what happened? He said, let's go down and disorganize them. The disorganization that they said in the Bible, is it not Africa that they were talking about? How many of you have seen the Berlin Conference details? How many of you have read the book, How to Make a Negro Christian? They divided us. They divided us like properties in Berlin Conference. And yet we are there. We are fighting for superiority complex when it comes to religions. Story, Nija, and challenge. There's another guy called maybe something Noah. He's so happy that he has people listening to him defending the Bible. As beautiful as the work of Abel Damina is, Abel Damina is not different from the same people he's trying to use the same Bible to expose, because Abel Damina doesn't even know where he stands today. That Abel Damina will say, we are looking for righteous men that will be standing up. Are we looking for only righteous men or people? I can't remember how you put it. I'll make a video on it. We are looking for born again men. What is the essence of our born again? When we cannot provide doctors that will not forget scissors in the womb of a mother. We can no longer have doctors that can dissect laboratory results. We do not have. Ẹ wá gbọ́ òyìnbó lẹ́nu àwọn lawyers wa. Ẹ wá wo nǹkan kọ sílẹ̀ àsòyìnbó. We do not have engineers, automobile engineers, who know the difference between carburetor and injector. Yet we are looking for people that will be spreading the gospel. Ebedamina. Spreading what useless gospel? You people will now be debating the same books that they impose on us to create this division that they had plans for long ago. So the crossing that I said, when I was in nursery school, Alafia Nursery and Primary School, Orogun Ibadan. I don't know how many of you will remember that school. Ibadan Dadalema Moscow Timon Alafia Nursery and Primary School. That was my first kindergarten school and nursery school before I crossed over to Trinity Home Nursery and Primary School. I will tell you something today, that back then, if not 70-80%, they were whites coming to Nigeria to look for jobs. And so many of you never asked how our grandmas in the villages, they say, pon, 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 pon. Olualajoke, that was my primary school in the 60s. God bless you. I still remember the quality of our uniforms, as small as I was then. In the 70s. A sky blue. Once they admit you in the school, then there is a basin like bathroom top where they go and look for your size. I remember my grandpa's 504, Peugeot 504 station wagon. Bí mo ṣe máa fò káàkiri inú ẹ̀ lélẹ̀ táwọn àti driver bá ń gbé mi lọ sí school pẹ̀lú ajá wa. Ọ̀sẹ̀ṣẹ̀ dog ń gbà yẹn. Ìyẹn máa pariwo tí n bá ti sọ̀kalẹ̀ nínú mọ́tò kò ní fẹ́ jẹ́ kí n lọ. Thank you so much. Yes. Check out AAA. Quality uniform. And so many of us never ask, why Kilodeta or grandpa and grandma, why do they use pound to address our currency then? It is because back then in the 60s and the 70s, Nigerian currency, Naira, was not... Go and get your facts. Naira was not competing with US was no way. Naira was actually competing easily with dollars. Go and check history on social media again. There was a time Nigeria was lending money to Europe. What was our major economy then? It was based on agricultural practices. Ask elderly people around you. Ask them that one guy is just saying rubbish. Nigeria lent money to Europe before. Go and look at history. Maybe when you get all of this history, when you get these facts together, you even stop being religious. You will be hungry in your spirit. What is the essence of being religious that my life is like this? I was not left out. Then what happened? 2007, winter 2018 or 19, I went to Co-op. Some of you who are in Canada, you will know that out of all the gas stations, it is only Co-op. Some of the Co-op gas stations or petrol stations, if you allow me, they call it gas stations there, but Back home, we call it petrol station. It is only co-op you would go to and still see petrol attendants. If they are not by the pumps, somebody will come from the office, the same way Total used to do back then. How many of you remember that they would check your car, they will do everything, they will clean your windshield? I still remember all those days. Now, I got to this gas station 2019, winter 2019. I drove my Porsche 928. If you know the vehicle, they call it Porsche 928. Wanted to start running around the province then. That iṣẹ́ ti gbà mí lọ́kàn ju bó ṣe yẹ lọ. Ní ìsìn tí mi tiẹ̀ wá ṣiṣẹ́, mo gba bírèkì fúnra mi. Let me even know all of these places. So I checked big cities, the small towns in my province back then. So brought out 19 major cities. I said, let me start from somewhere. So I packed my things, the food I will survive on for 2-3 days. Excuse me. So I got to this gas station to fill my tank. And the elderly man came out to help me at that co-op station. As he was feeling we were talking, said, what part of Africa are you from? I said, why do you accept? You must be from Nigeria. Your accent. I said, yes, He says, what are you doing in this cold? I said, how do you mean? Do you know that this guy, before God and man, this guy was telling me about Guinness. This guy was telling me about pounded yam with a goosey soup. He said he was one of the expatriates that came with either Shell or whatever oil and gas company back in the 70s, that he had the best of his life back then in Nigeria. And he didn't even wish to come back. I moved from US to Canada. He always wants peace. He lived his best life in the 70s when he was in Nigeria. I said, you were in Nigeria before I could say Jack Robinson. It brought tears to my eyes to see our old Nigeria currency in the hands of this white elderly man. He said, this has been my companion. I saw the brown 1 kobo. I saw the move to tears. He says, I didn't mean to. I said, no. I'm just feeling emotional because I know I shouldn't even be here too. I should be enjoying back home. Says, what happened? I said, our government, our leaders. And we exchange contacts. We still speak to date. Anytime I travel there, he will entertain me. I said, I don't drink beer. Just get me whiskey, 40%. I'll manage it with some lemon. Then we will talk. He will arrange. Do you want to sleep in the hotel? You want to sleep at my place? I said, I prefer hotel. I want my privacy. We've done that like 4-5 times. I always come around. We can always talk and everything. How did Nigeria get here? How did African countries get here despite all our resources? Where are the chaos coming from? Who are empowering the Boko Haram? We just say Boko Haram, ISWAP, and them. Who are the ones empowering them? There is nowhere in Africa that they are making sophisticated weapons. Today, if Russia attacks the US, from the ammunitions, they will know the signature. I have worked in firearms department before of DHL. They sent me for training. I still have my firearms license and certificate here. I still have it. So I know how to signature check guns, irrespective of what the gun, irrespective of, just mention it. Shotgun, handgun, mention it. So if Germany goes anywhere today, the signature, unless they buy that ammunition from another country. So if in their country technology can allow them to know okay, to know all of these things. Then nobody is asking. About 4 years ago, helicopter dropping things for the Boko Haram people in the forest. Till date, Nigerian government did not supply us the details. Everything died down. Right in our faces, the terrorists were using drones in Nigeria, in the northern part of Nigeria. In one of the south states, whether be Benue or wherever, there is airstrip there. They use that airstrip helicopter to take over, to cut away resources. So many of you, I posted the video. It's like people are just dead, conscience-wise. But if I want such videos to fly, the Nigerian government needs to explain, why is this airstrip in Nigeria and nobody is talking about it? What resources are they taking out of Nigeria? Who are the ones taking it out? Who are the ones taking these resources out? Bully you or cybercrime or whatever rubbish, and you loshori burukui. There is no pastor that will say, I am taking this case up. That they once alleged that Shetima had a Boko Haram leader stored in his house in Abuja. Punch newspaper picked it and I posted it. But Nigerians are less concerned. If Lizzie Anjorin and Toyekiniko Ojo, if they are fighting, that is what we want. Wizkid and Davido are fighting. But now, Ayewati Baje, with the way we fetesile ma palapalapa, we leave necrotic situations. We run after ringworms. Our lives are in serious danger, in serious disarray. Look at the rubbish we run after on social media. Look at the rubbish. Just imagine. People outside Nigeria are less concerned because they feel they have escaped. They don't care. Some don't care because if they go back home, who are they going to oppress? But some of us that are speaking up, inú ìfẹ́ tí mo ní sí Nigeria ni mo ti ń sọ̀rọ̀, because Nigeria added so much to me and I weep remembering things that happened and they were happening then and things that are happening today, and I can no longer hold my peace. I was in Nigeria 2023, 2022 or 23. I went with my brother-in-law and my sister with their children. They went for their medical test to Japa. Eja Mitimba Paro, very close, that around the Keja, Antonio, whatever route. Where is that again? Where is the name of that hospital that they painted blue and white? You have to be outside in the rain, in the sun. And I remember making a video that will expose them. That in foreign countries, do you like me ni wayiti? IOM. Me ni wayiti say. I posted a short video from there. And my brother-in-law and sister were worried. I wrote to me, "Ma jẹ́ kan mo ní, tán bá gbé mi, ẹ jẹ́ kan gbé mi." People that were pregnant on our own soil. They lined them in the rain. It was sunny. They lined them up in the sun, in the heat. And directly opposite, Eja Mitimba Paro Eloshe confirmation, directly opposite IOM, there is a mini estate there being owned by the Chinese. Then we saw 2 Toyota 4Runner, maybe bulletproof vehicle or whatever. A Chinese lady was in the truck, a white soldier guy, in fact, not even one, like 2 or 3. Because the other ones came down from the distance. Just because they wanted to enter that compound, they had to guide them on our own soil. The non-entities who have not even been to schools like we have done. We promote them, we treat them like kings and queens on our own soil, despite the fact that they are killing us. Yet there is no judiciary member, there is no SAN that will sanction, that will sue the federal government for how ammunitions are getting into the hands, sophisticated weapons are getting into the hands of Boko Haram in Nigeria. And yet we say we have immigration officer. Who is the immigration head today that this is happening? Who is the custom officer that is head today in Nigeria? And yet we are weeping that we should go our separate ways so that we can have sanity. You said no, one Nigeria. How did these weapons get to Nigeria? Because if they sanction, how many can Uncle Femi Falana do? How many? But where are the young lawyers that will be like Bolage, that will say, no, I'm not doing it for money, I'm doing it for the generation unborn. I'm doing it for the next generation. We want to take up this fight. All of them are graduating, they are looking for soft landing, they are looking for money. People don't want to live for relevance again. They only want to live for themselves and themselves. To the extent that we don't even love our wives, we don't love our children. How can you, a politician, say you love your children? You think by sending them abroad, by buying houses for them abroad, with the stolen funds, is love? All over Africa, all African leaders are complicit. You buy expensive houses for your children and wives, your girlfriends abroad. You love them. How can you love your family members when you use stolen funds to take care of them? How? Nobody to speak on behalf of the masses who are still sane to know that this government doesn't have anything to offer. At the end of the day, why should Seyi Tinubu be giving out meals to people? Any government official that is doing the right thing, people will naturally vote for him without giving them anything, if we are of good conscience and sanity in Nigeria. But we don't want the truth. If Showore begins to share money today, that is when Showore will get votes. Because Showore happens to be the only person who mentioned this constitution that I just mentioned again today, that I've been mentioning since 2020. Only candidates then that mentioned change of constitution. So I'm sorry, the fight that the likes of Randy Peter, they are fighting today, it touches my heart. I feel their pain. If you don't know Randy Peter, you should know him already. Go and look for him on social media. But what is the outcome of that fight? Even if we have free and fair elections in Nigeria, even if we have free and fair elections, if tens of righteous people come in today, will the constitution allow them to be righteous? The person that is coming in free and fair, does he not have skeleton in his cupboard that the cabals can be using against him, that if you don't sign this paper, we will release this video? People are not thinking about that they have been together for so long, so they have one another's evil deeds in their hands. There is nobody out of them that becomes that becomes president today that they do not have dirty dealings that they will use in cornering, not make a command and say enough of killings in the north. Forget this propaganda that won't buy on the north. Are the northerners not human beings? Are the northerners not human beings? And that is how useless, that is how heartless we are in Nigeria today. Nothing. It is in the north that they are killing people. They are killing people in the north. It's not my concern. How many of you read what I shared about Bola Ige? He stood up for students that were rusticated in the north back then, when he was illegally arrested and sent to that place. One of them had become a medical doctor. When they tried to poison him, it was in the hands of one of those students that he stood up for, that he landed from prison to the hospital. And when he opened his eyes, the guy had to come down. You don't remember me? Don't worry, you are in safe hands, because you stood up for me. Go and read that story, because we don't know history. All of you lawyers, usefulness, as important as your career is, what are you going to achieve with it if we wake up and sleep on this madness called judiciary system of Nigeria? That in our highest constitution allows the federal government allocates billions of naira to renovate Shetima's house in Abuja. Renovation, not just building and everything. Renovation. Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you are not ready for this talk. What else are you people looking for that you've not gotten in mysterious ways? That in our presence, in our very highs, you people borrow money from World Banks, from International Monetary Funds. You say you are paying yourself salary. You lori buruku lẹ́yìn politicians Africa ini. You keep borrowing to pay yourself salaries. How can you people sleep and wake up without conscience with what you are doing, that you can be smiling home every month end, apart from the legal what do they call it now, contract that you award yourselves? How can you sit comfortably in those offices? How can you sleep in your bedrooms collecting millions every month, when average home in Nigeria cannot even boast of 1,000 naira to feed? And you say you are doing government. It will not be well with all of you. It will never be well with every seed that comes to you. It will never be well. You will never know peace. And the blame is not totally on you people. It is also on Nigerians. We allow pastors to calm us down and be praying for a better tomorrow, when that tomorrow is already in our hands. Where is it God? Okay, some of you will say, they are trying their best, so they are paying debt, they are shaking it. Are you kidding me? Do you know how much these politicians share daily? That in our presence, in our faces, they could bring it out that if Nigeria must pay up his debt, an average Nigerian is owing almost about 2 million naira. When so millions of Nigerians have not even seen 100,000 before. Some of you will say, not me, the government is not as easy as you have said. What is difficult in governing a country? If there is truth, if there is transparency, let's call a spade a spade. If the leaders love the people. But when these good-for-nothing politicians, when they say they want to do occasion tomorrow, is it not your own child that is an artist that they will call to come and sing? Where is the generation of fella that will say, me, sing for a politician over my dead body? Is it not your own artist? Is it not your favorite artist they will call and you will still go there and dance and be hyping them? Is it not your entertainers in the movie industry that they will call and they will go? How many of them are speaking today? They have collected their money, but when we see them on the street, we see them, we raise up our hands. The same people we should be stoning, we should be holding curses hearts. This is my pain this morning. We've seen nada. We've seen nada. World leaders. I said before I will repeat it. This lady that was unalived, and so many other white people that have been unalived by angry blacks. Every white, because it is the one we see. What about what goes on behind the veil? Their blood. Because in my country we say that once the rope doesn't have rest, then the bird that stands on that rope too will never have rest. Ara oni ro okun ko ro adie. What is the root cause that people will want to face that danger of traveling through Mediterranean Sea for months? The world leaders are not asking questions. They are not answering this question. What are the root causes? What will make a man or a woman, even the children? That will make them to take such a journey. What are you world leaders doing to African leaders who are ready to serve the people? When are you going to have enough? We have given everything we have. We have done so much. I can't even describe. If not because you world leaders are wicked. In your countries, somebody is paying mortgage. You care for environment so much. You care for environment so much that if I'm paying mortgage and I park on the grass, or I park at a place that I'm not supposed to park, they will give you ticket. At the house where you are paying your home mortgage. To change engine oil and oil filter on my car is not the problem. But I cannot dump the engine oil anywhere. That's why I have to take it to the mechanic, because the mechanics must have how much they pay for them to dump those oil for recycle or whatever. They don't know, let them go and know. So at the end of the day, you care so much for your environment. But African countries where you explore crude oil, look at the damage you have done to a people back home. There is no plan in place to make sure that there is no oil spillage. These are the things you taught us, you allowed us to be taught in schools. These are the things we were taught in oil spillage. What are the impacts of environmental impact assessment of oil spillage? You wrote everything in the books that you asked our lecturers to be teaching us. How come you good for nothing wicked souls will never practicalize what you asked us to be taught in schools? Look at what you have done to Ogoni people. So many of them are dying of cancer today. How many of you remember AIT television adverts? AIT, Ogbonge TV, Mama, Papa, that they will show fishing festival in Nigeria. How many of you remember? Do we still have such in Nigeria today? I remember Igbokoda, where my uncle used to work when I was young. Igbokoda, near Ondo State, between Ondo and Benin City. This is only Edo State. It wasn't Edo State there, it was just Benin. We will go there, we see fishing activities on large scales. You people damage everything. And it is not only your fault, because of the fault of our useless leaders from back then. People who will, because of money, they lose their conscience. They don't even have any again. Little wonder that Bible says that, don't let me be too rich. To ask, who is God gone? Are you politicians not putting your fingers in the face of God? Especially in Africa. How easy can your jobs be in Africa? Just to do the right thing for the masses. But all of you have wickedly turned algebraic equation, x plus y equals z. You have turned it to polynomial equation. Quartic polynomial equation. Almighty formula equation. How wicked can you African leaders be? As by experiment, we have seen what Burkina Faso did, what Mali is doing, what Niger is doing. They are not owing anybody again, just because they have been lucky to have a leader who has the people at heart. You good for nothing mad people in Nigeria. Why should somebody like Tinubu? Are we so dumb, are we so mad in Nigeria that someone like Tinubu, with his age, what are the documents that Tinubu is being asked to sign today? What do they mean? Is Tinubu else worthy to be signing papers on behalf of Nigerians? Let's call a spade now. Let me write out some things and let Tinubu explain to all Nigerians. But people look at it and understand and know what they are signing as allies of other countries. We wouldn't allow them to get there. People who want to change the constitution for better, we won't allow them to be presidents. That we will see one Nigerian behind Tinubu saying they want to do election again. If I have 1,000,000 reasons to say that God doesn't exist, 1,000,000 reasons, there is one reason that gives me the assurance that truly Eledumare exists. Because we deserve worse. Quote me anywhere. Nigerians deserve to be frying in serious fire as we are speaking. Because we are a wicked generation. That you are alive, you think it is an opportunity for you to be supporting this evil government? That they could be giving you food as against your future, the future of your children. Then what about your religious leaders? They keep you in various camps. Just be praying. Just be praying. My father says you should pray. Where are they today? Then when we are speaking out of the love we have for your children, you come on our pages to terrorize us. That Rotimi, you are the next that they will arrest. Rotimi, you are the next that they will kill. You think I'm afraid of death? When someone like me is gone, you will feel the impact, because even your children will be putting fingers in your faces that ẹni tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ sẹ́kẹ̀ náà lẹ wíṣì dẹ́ẹ̀tì yìí mọ́mí ẹ̀yìn gan òye kẹ́ wà láyé. dádì olórí burúkú èèyàn nìyí, ẹni tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ sókè fún wa nígbà tí ẹ̀yin ò lè sọ̀rọ̀ náà lẹ́tí nìkan padà nù yìí, you have asked, you've ordered this. Àṣìírè nìyí dádì. You will hear that from your children. But for some of us, it is a joyful thing. If death comes today, we are ready to go. Because give me one thing that is left for our children to encourage them. Some of you will be asking, okay, Rotimi, out of all of these problems all over the world, what do you think is the way forward? Number one, we must first look at the faces of our children and be able to define the love we claim we have for them. What is the definition of the love we have for them? You world leaders, is there anybody you love? If the calamities you are spreading, the likes of Bill Gates and co., if the calamities you people are spreading touches the people you love, how would you feel? That in Africa, what our forefathers left for us were seed to be planting. So that month in, month out, year in, year out, we are planting, we are getting crops. Today, GMO food that we could even allow Bill Gates to be having his power over Africa, it is a slap on all African leaders. And some of you, when we mention GMO food, you don't even understand, your brain is not picking it up. That GMO food means that after some time, the people are fighting. Then what is the content of the product of GMO seed? What are the things that are involved? What are the health implications? You are not asking. You just Masha ti jẹun òjọ́ mi tí mo dẹ̀ lọ wo bọ́ọ̀lù tí mo rí bọ́ọ̀lù wò. Èmi. Then you won't have access to seed again. Then you will end up buying seed because the product you get from GMO food, you cannot get seed to plant again. Once an African person invents anything, it is the same Africans that will damage the life of that person with the use of the leaders. If an African stands up today and say, you know what, because of greenhouse effects in the atmosphere, burning down the ozone layer, whole 3 layer, because we don't know all of these things. So many of you don't understand. Okay, we have that ozone layer that is like mirror in the atmosphere. You know, that helps to shields the ultraviolet rays, which the reduction of which prevents skin cancer due to sunlight. UV rays reaching the heart and neck, it sends them back through reflection. But now that we are burning all of these things, cutting down forests, allowing so many things, you know, all of this burning, hydrocarbons burning, depleting the ozone layer, it means more ultraviolet rays will be escaping to the earth. What it means after some time is this: once the ozone layer is highly depleted, there will be more chaos health-wise. But the plants that were all of these people know the facts, but they don't care. So many of us will talk about so many interactions between the living and non-living things of the environment. I don't want to go too deep into that part of science today. You know, I mentioned it before. You have the lithosphere, you have the biosphere, you have the hydrosphere, you have the atmosphere, the air, the living things, the land, and the water. They all have Ọlọ́run ti ṣe levels of interactions láàrin wọn. But our wickedness has made it that would destroy all of these natural occurrences because some people want to have big mansions of 10 rooms, 20 rooms, that our politicians in Nigeria will have 20 houses, 30 houses. Kí ló dé? And there is no judiciary that can question how they get the money. So, short-term as against long-term effects. So, the world leaders that we're crying on today, if they have conscience at all, number one, how many people have been involved in Epstein file? When you bring them to book, is it the same judgment you gave Patrice Lumumba for wanting freedom for his people? Is it the same judgment you're going to give them? Are you going to burn them in sulfuric acid? What leaders were asking questions? All the ones that are alleged eating babies' intestine, will they be unalive the way you unalive Patrice Lumumba? Or even worse, with respect to what they have done and what they are still doing? Why should it take so long for Epstein to be exposed? Somebody hoarding 330 gallons in trailer of sulfuric acid. What are you people using it to do? In the society, Michael Jackson died trying to expose all of you. So when you world leaders are talking, you do not have the moral justification, because all of you are complicit in the evil going on in the world. And your pride and arrogance, I don't know where they came from, that you use covert agents, covert actions to take out anybody you want to take out from anywhere in the world. And you people are not ashamed of yourselves. Till date, nobody has been able to question Bill Gates, and it is because all of you are complicit in whatever he's doing. Let's call a spade a spade. How many of you have shares in his companies, in his foundations? How much are you getting? Look at what you did to the whole world during COVID-19. The doctor, now the truth is out. You are now releasing them. Are you going to compensate them for the years you have wasted, for the humiliation? Some of us spoke about it then. You blocked our accounts. Immediately we mentioned anything. I said, Sukurum Suramus, when we cry, we see. Say this thing is a lie. They are all actors. Some people thought, Rotimi, you are mad, you want us to die. I said they were actors. The truth is there now. Some people, I still remember maybe 1 or 2 days ago, I was saying, let's remember on Facebook 2020. You remember you came to Nigeria then? I said, yes, I remember I was in Nigeria. You said these things because naturally, God has given us white blood cells, platelets, to be able to fight foreign bodies in our system. Why is it that the same people who establish this fight are the ones saying that we must be vaccinated every now and then? And look at the impact of vaccination all over the world today. And nobody is being arrested. Fauci is not arrested. But an African leader stands up for his own people. You quickly unalive such a leader. You world leaders should be ashamed of yourselves. And you do not have any moral justification to even label Africa as third world countries. Because it shows that all of you are you just think you are superior to us. You are not even near us at all, if not because of the evil leaders we have. You call us third world countries. Who are the second world countries? Nobody. But you created that gap for a purpose. And you lusho lori buruku. So coming back to this post, if you people do not tamper with the natural occurrence of the world that God Almighty has made. This kind of occurrence will keep coming. They do not. So you world leaders must stand up. What you are supposed to remove your hands from in Africa, remove your hands. What you are supposed to help with, help. And for what it's worth, we are tired of you people allowing our African leaders to steal money and bring it to your countries. Because that is why people like Deng Majek will be frustrated and depressed. You all know these things. Because in your countries, if somebody wants to take 7-Up alone, if he can't have it, if he claims depression, you allow it. How much more a people of color whose human rights have been highly violated, trampled upon? And to help you people, what is in Africa is enough for the whole world to tap into. If you go through the right means, with the resources. I am speaking on behalf of the people that are crying today. I'm speaking on behalf of Congolese. I'm speaking on behalf of Kenyans. I'm speaking on behalf of Ghanaians. Speaking on behalf of all Africans, on behalf of Nigerians. That enough is enough. What else exactly do you still want from us? Back home, you don't allow us to rest. Through the business, evil business of the weapons that you people are selling, you turn our own brothers against us. You already use religion to divide our languages. That even a Yoruba person that is a Muslim cannot talk apart from saying Inshallah, Inshallah, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. When as a Yoruba, we should be speaking what we understand, not to talk of where the region is even different. That you have set up the religion so much that a lady, Deborah, was unalived in our. Then when Christians are saying, I'm happy that I'm a Christian, no, I'm happy that I'm not a Muslim, or whatever. Because if you read that Bible very well, you will see where Jesus asked people who do not accept him that they should be brought into his presence and they should be unalived. In the two books, unalive is there as common factor. They are there as common factors. So for this kind of occurrence not to happen, and you world leaders know the game you are playing. So many of you have shares in ammunition companies. So you are selling your market. You are selling your market. And we are just tired of this game. We know the game. We are tired of it. How many attempts have been on Abraham Traore? Students are no longer paying school fees. Constant supply of electricity, free houses, free medical attention, everything. This is what the people deserve. So first and foremost, we are imploring that you don't even borrow, you don't lend money again to African countries. If that motion can be moved, can be made, it will be nice. Because you are borrowing them this money for one purpose, to dip us, to damage our lives. In banking sector, when you want to go and borrow money, they must know what you are doing, using the money for. But in IMF and World Banks, they are set up for a purpose, to hold African continent by the balls. And enough of this game. You lend them money. No infrastructures, nothing. The only thing that we have, which is our life, is what we are begging now to have completely. That there shouldn't be killing again. That there shouldn't be killing again. How did we get here, guys? You sell ammunition to our brothers. You use propaganda to set us against one another. For how long are we going to be doing that? How long?
Okay.
Leaders, it is an adage that goes across that tí ebi bá ti kúrò nínú ìṣẹ́ kí ìṣẹ́ bùṣe. Once there is hunger, there will be problem. Where are the African leaders that will invest massively in agricultural practices, mechanized agricultural practices? Where are the leaders? Olórí ibú lẹ̀yin people yìí ni. When you fly from Lagos to Port Harcourt, you will understand what I'm talking about. If China could be doing what they are doing, who told you that even in the northern states, if we have good, sensible, worthy leaders, what do they call irrigation system that you bastards taught us in schools? With all the billions you are spending, we are still in 2026, we are still talking about government, either federal level or state level, sending people to tourism in the name of Hajj, pilgrimage. That we have state government that say they are spending billions of naira to send people to Mecca, to send people to Jerusalem. And that is why I said we deserve worse as a people, because the people that are going, your pastors that are taking people there, you are still under them. And they know that they are part of this damage. They are part of this suffering. They are part of the calamities. Hey, as at on Monday morning, I worked Sunday to Monday morning. So morning hours in Nigeria, I still saw what do they call it? I saw Taiwo Ojo already shouting, already doing this on Monday morning. On live video, telling people to bring one Oluwa or something like that. I have the video. I will make a video and post it. So this repair, what we need is not resting on the shoulders of the government people alone. How do we rescue one another from this religious madness? How do we rescue one another? Because we cannot talk about the solution to these problems without involving religion. If the person that will be a president now have the mind and the boldness to change our constitution to what favors the country, that will be transparent with what outside countries are buying from us, this is what we are getting. And this is what we are going to use it for. If the person says there is no God, let but Nigerians are so wicked despite being religious that we don't even want that transparency. We don't even deserve it. But for the sake of our children, we must keep talking. We must keep shouting. We must keep crying that maybe someday that supreme being will just listen to our prayers and do that which only him can do. because it could be very tiring. How can we have a people that support buying of camps, buying of acres of land that should be meant for agricultural purpose? Ká dẹ̀ rent katakata kí wọ́n lọ bóun ẹ̀, ká ṣe collective effort with one mind, but we prefer to use it. Ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì wa ń gbòòrò, ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì wa tún ti ra kámpu, ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì wa tún ti wọ́n ti kọ́ ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì. Ọ̀gá ra mọ́tò, inú ọmọọṣẹ́ ń dùn. If you don't know, go and know. One of your pastors that I talked about recently, his name is his nickname is Baberi. Do you know that the same thing that Agbala Gabriel is doing, that all of you empower them to be doing? They use your money. They said they are collecting money for somebody who is in need. You contribute 1 million, they use 10 naira for the person. The rest goes into their pocket. But as long as they have the name of Jesus coined in it, you think you are doing it unto God. The same housing issue, the same housing whatever that joined him and Muideen. Do you know that Baberi is doing the same thing today? They sent the videos to me about 2-3 days ago. 25 million naira per 1-bedroom chalet. Is it God that will collect all those money from all the land that all of you are contributing money to buy? What if we use it for things that will benefit the populace instead of just one madman that calls himself a pastor? And to balance my account today, if Tinubu's government allocates amount of money to state government, how much is the state government allocating to local government? Because Tinubu's government is disbursing money to states. What are the governors using the money to do? Why is it that the constitution allows the governors not to be questioned? Why can't there be judiciary system at each levels of government, at each level of government that will be questioning? There can't be, because even if we have, they will collect money, they collect bribe. I've explained why before. You are all of a sudden, your husband keeps coming home with pregnated poly bags, and you are not worried. You are not worried. Then you are complicit in the decay, and you must reap the fruit of that wickedness. You, the wives of politicians. How did we get it that Africans all over the world, we see us being maltreated by canine dogs abroad? We see the way we are being treated everywhere we go, yet we are not ready to talk about the root causes of these problems. It is not the fault of these people. It is our own fault and the fault of the leaders that we have put in place. It is the fault. We are waiting now for 5,000 to be shared in Ankara. African leaders, African politicians, you should all be ashamed of your sorry selves. You all should be ashamed to have been able to weaponize poverty so much that somebody whose father is a cow rearer cannot even boast of bone to eat. That the child of somebody who had company making Ankara doesn't have anything to wear again. You all should be ashamed of yourselves, African leaders. You look at your home people, you cannot even have mercy on them. But what you people do is steal. The competition is now who can steal the most in the African political systems. Who can steal the most. That is the competition all of you are doing. Tálàárọ̀ bá ti ní kó rọ yín, ọlọ́sùn ò ní jó san yín, alẹ́ yín ò ní lẹ. All of you in this act of wickedness. If there is any politician that apart from the allocated monthly income, if additional 1 naira get into your pocket by proxy or any means, and you are not questioning it, it will never be well with you. All of you looking at me as politician, that you know that this money you are collecting is not supposed to be so. The masses should be taken care of, but you are not saying anything despite being in this condition that our lives have been taken. It will never be well with all of you. You all will never know peace. Imagine. There are no seeds to plant because our government officials are complicit in the evil plans that Bill Gates is having over Africa. Imagine how thousands of hectares of land that Bill Gates is now having all over Africa. And all of you are forgetting that whosoever controls your feeding, whosoever controls your source of feeding controls you. With all being said, what you people are interested in is arrest anybody who mentions my name on social media. Arrest anybody and you lòṣì olórí burúkú àtòkò wá balẹ̀ jẹ́ yìí. Kò ní yẹ gbogbo yín, kò ní yẹ gbogbo àwọn tó support yín. 11,000 seed costs 300,000. Tell me how local farmers can buy this. Kí wá la fẹ́ ṣe sí yẹn báyìí? Ó sì two fish. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ nítorí Ọlọ́run, is it possible? Is it possible that we have a plan? Bó ṣe pé ká gádà owó kẹ́ ẹ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ra síìdì yìí pamọ́ to help future local farmers. Because iná ti jó dórí kókó sínú mi nù pé àgbẹ̀ làwọn. He is also into serious fish business. He teaches people. He is a professor. He teaches people. But there must be a way out of this predicament before we are fully cornered. Ẹ jẹ́ ká sọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́yìn ètò. If there is a way out, I'm ready. If it means to do overtime. If it means to do overtime, I don't mind. Then we have to talk about study. Mo ti dé cream. Nǹkan tí mo sọ fún yín, mo dé cream. Tí n bá fi chat èmi àtàbúrò mi hàn yẹn máa rí. Mo lọ sí it that they have. Okay, ẹ jẹ́ ká sọ̀rọ̀ to know a way out for this. Kì í ṣe ẹni tí mi trust. Mà ní àwọn èèyàn ẹ jẹ́ ká ra seed pamọ́ o. Ẹni báyìí ẹsẹ̀ tẹ́ bá ní ẹ jẹ́ ká dẹ̀ mọ̀ bí tí seed bank yẹn máa wà. Ká má sọ gbogbo ẹ̀ lórí ètò. I didn't even know it has gotten to this point. I didn't know it has gotten to this point.
Bluetooth mode.
We see ourselves on the street, white against black, when actually the two tribes, the two kinds of people we have on planet Earth are the good people and the bad people. But they have pushed us to that extent that when we see a black man is beating a white man, The whites are happy when a black is being humiliated, they don't do anything and everything. Should it be so? But the card players, people Lucius as pawns on chess game, they are behind these presidents. You think that they want to do the right thing, they don't know what to do? That the elites are well protected despite all the evil they perpetrate in the society in all these countries. Going into Walmart, by the entrance, you see the picture of how many missing kids. In the US, see the picture of how many missing kids, even in this year alone. Mostly blacks. We see videos where we are being used for experiments like animals. And now the control has got into our food. We now have to be living at the mercy of those that are controlling our seed. Yet we have a government. I am speaking because I have a conscience. Enough is enough. And finally, this might sound so awkward, but I will tell you that if this fight has not gotten to that point, all of you are not ready, both home and abroad. When they establish their Premier League games, how many of us are contributing to watch it? The last time I watched was 2017. Not because I don't like soccer. I want to judge that mo le gba òkúta. Not to talk of watching. But each penny you drop that you are watching, that much you are supporting the evil and the calamities that are befalling us. Each time they put two people together, they are doing boxing. You are contributing to the decay and the weight that is about to crush us. The UFC fight, each time you watch it, I am telling you wholeheartedly, and that is the set of distractions that these leaders are put in place to make sure that our attentions are diverted and divided. While we are seated watching matches, shouting, "Hey, Chelsea, did they drop that? Bah." The bigger plans, the major plans are going on the ground. Some of you will say, me that I don't always have time, I'm always at work. But when it is time to watch those matches, 2 hours, you have time. This is the time to start gripping or grabbing the politicians, the world leaders by the balls, and that is by staying away from these matches. Why do we play African Cup of Nations when Algeria will lose to Nigeria, and right from the stadium they are chanting that they will enslave us, they will unalive the men, and they will make sure that our women turn to their slaves in Africa? That is Algeria. How many of you saw the video? Because their team lost to Nigeria. Then tell me what they call hypocrisy if our African leaders will still allow African Cup of Nations when we are not even united. How about using African Cup of Nations to say we are shutting the borders against outside world? Anyone who is already inside, go out. We have a plan. Where are the African leaders that will stand up to see whether people will support them and will protect them or not, the way they are doing in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger? But because they are complicit in what is going on, they will never do that. They will never.
Stand for justice, stand for justice over religion. For Ajaleto, we stand for justice. We are religiously liberated. We are religiously liberated. tọ́lọ́rọ̀ bá gbọ́n kí ni má bá ọlọ́rọ̀ wá fẹ́ ṣe. Lórí òtítọ́ la dúró lórí òtítọ́ la dúró lé lọ. Màá jálè tó. We stand for truth and justice. We are liberated.